Good day, everybody. Got a quick word for you. I promise you, I wasn't even in this actual text today studying, but when God gives it to me, gotta let it out. Take a trip with me to the book of Mark, chapter 4. I'm gonna read 13, verses 13 through 20. I got the message version, one of my favorite versions. He continued, do you see how this story works? All my stories work this way. The farmer plants the word, and some people are like the seed that falls from the hardened soil of the road. No sooner do they hear the word than Satan snatches away what's been planted in them. And some are like the seed that lands in the gravel. When they first hear the word, they respond with great enthusiasm. But there is such shallow soil of character that when the emotions wear off and some difficulty arrives, there's nothing to show for it. The seed cast in the weeds represents the one who hear the kingdom news but are overwhelmed with worries about all the things they have to do and all the things they want to get. The stress strangles what they've heard and nothing becomes of it. Now here's the one that we all, I'm going to go back, but here's the one that we all want to aspire to be. Verse 20. But the seed planted in the good earth represents those who hear the word, embrace it, and produce a harvest beyond their wildest dreams. Let me go back to verse 14 and 15. So some people are like the seed that falls on the hardened soil of the road, right? So hardened soil, nothing's going to penetrate that. It's hard, like concrete. What happens is they get a word from God, whether they heard it in a sermon, whether they heard it in the scripture, but because that soil is hardened, Satan snatches it away that was planted. We don't want to be that hardened soil. What's this soil going to represent? The soil is going to represent our heart. It's our mind. Don't let the enemy snatch a word away from you. He doesn't want to see you prosper. He doesn't want to see you win. If you get a word from God, embrace it. Run with it, pray on it, and let it materialize into what God has for you. Next verse is, I'm backtracking right now because I'm commenting on all these verses. And some are like the seed that lands in the gravel. When they first hear the word, they respond to a great enthusiasm. So it's like, yeah, you gung-ho. God got a blessing for me. God has work to do for me. God told me to forgive. God told me to reconcile. God said he's going to restore. Things of that nature. But what happens is, because the character wasn't built, the emotions are so high that they are only temporary. It wasn't solidified. It wasn't solid. It wasn't firm. Then the first area of difficulty comes, you leave it. All right, cool. So God told you to start a business. But I don't have any money in the bank. Oh, well. No. And that's just one example. But whatever it is that God gave you, whether it's to do for yourself, whether it's to do for others, don't let the unforeseen circumstances or the supposed lack thereof stop you. Push through it and have faith in God. The seed cast in the weeds represents the one who hear the kingdom news but are overwhelmed with worries about all the things they have to do. Very similar to the last verse behind that. And all the things they want to get. The stress strangles what they heard, and nothing becomes of it. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. All right, Philippians 4:13. Have your faith in God. Trust God to make the provision. Trust God to provide the resources, and run with it, no matter what it may look like. If we knew everything ahead of us, there's no room for your faith to be built. Our faith is built by trusting in God and his purpose and plan, whether we see it clearly or not. If he gave you all the answers up front and told you what it was going to be, that's a freebie. That's like I'm sitting next to the smart kid in class and cheating off his paper. You can't know everything, but you got to trust in God. Then once you see God's hand manifest and provisions manifest, that's how your faith is strengthened. And now the good one. The seed planted on the good earth represents those who hear the word, embrace it, and produce a harvest beyond their wildest dreams. That's the place that we all want to aspire to be. You're not there, I'm not there, but each day we should be aspiring to get closer. Where it's like, God, I don't care about the lack of resources. I don't care about the lack of provision. I don't care what happened in the past. I don't care what they did to me. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. Husband, Reconcile with your wife. Reconcile with your husband. Every time you think, oh, but they did X, Y, and Z, that's the enemy telling you, yeah, they that same person. They haven't changed. Yes, they have. Trust God. Get that new job. You may say, oh man, but I got fired from my last job after 15 faithful years. Doesn't mean it's going to happen to you in this place too, especially if this is the one that God has for you. Trust. I don't want to give a million examples because I don't want this video to be longer than it already is. Think about whatever your situation is, whatever it is, and erase the past and trust God for provision and guidance. Book of Proverbs says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't lean to your own understanding. Leaning to your own understanding, we come to our own conclusions or of what may happen, what things are going to be. But that's the worst thing we want to do. It says, in all your ways, acknowledge him and he'll make your path straight. So it says, God, I don't understand it. I don't even necessarily agree, but I trust you. I trust you. And he will direct your path. He'll give you that provision. He'll give you that guidance. Walk in it. Trust in God with all your heart. All right, my brothers and sisters. If anybody wants to talk about this, you're more than welcome. Hit me in the comments. Hit me in my DM if you want to talk more about it, if you have any questions. I just want this word to bless somebody. I didn't write anything down. I'm just going off the top. Yeah. I'm praying for all of you. I wish you a great rest of your day. God bless.